guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura and my husband Chris and I have been eating a meat-only carnivore diet for 5.5 years now. We live in Arizona. It is 1,000 degrees here currently, and even though we still grill every day, we are finding that we're using our air fryer and doing indoor cooking a little more often, but we don't want to use the oven or try to heat the house up. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through all of my favorite meals and side dishes, basically things that we eat every single week that I cook in the air fryer. I'm in the market for a new air fryer, so if you have one that you love, let me know. I love this shelf style. I just want one that has a bigger surface area. So this is the Instant Pot Vortex air fryer. It has 2 shelves inside, but I feel like things don't get crispy unless it's on the top shelf. So if you have an air fryer with a really wide surface area, let me know, because that's what I'm looking for. One element of staying hydrated in the summer here in Arizona is to use Element electrolytes, which are a big thing for our family. Everybody drinks them. My kids actually have been taking the chocolate Element, and I put like a 1/4 of a packet in some milk in the evenings, and they've been having cold chocolate milk. I'm drinking 2 of these packets a day right now, especially in the heat and because I'm exercising more. And it's all of the sodium, potassium, and magnesium that I need in order to stay hydrated. My husband goes for walks in the afternoons in the heat, and he trains jujitsu. So all of this active lifestyle that we're trying to lead needs electrolytes. You guys know I'm a big fan. Everybody in our family is a big fan in general. And Element has a deal for all my subscribers where you can get this free sample pack free with any purchase. You can try all 8 of their flavors. They have 100% money back guarantee. See which one you like best if you go to drinkelement.com/Laura Spath, or I will put the link in the description. So thank you to Element for sponsoring this video. I have 5 meals planned that I want to show you, but the first one is kind of a 2-for-1. Chicken wings, chicken thighs. Bone in, skin on chicken thighs and chicken wings, like basically any chicken with the skin on it is gonna get unbelievably crispy in the air fryer. In a previous video, I showed you when I'm doing like a whole bunch of them when I need to use the oven, but the skin is never gonna get as crispy as it does in the air fryer. And so I'm gonna do this in 2 batches just because of the amount that I have. But chicken, especially crispy skin chicken, is the perfect side dish whenever we're eating pork or beef. It's the way that we help balance the budget as well. I'm gonna have a steak, which is amazing and a little bit more expensive, and so I'm gonna balance it out with some delicious, juicy, fatty chicken thighs. Just to mix up the flavors, I'm gonna use some salt, and then I have some all-purpose seasoning. I got this at a farmer's market. It's salt-free. So I'm gonna add some salt, and we're gonna use that on the chicken thighs. And then you could use any type of seasoning that you want. Even just plain salt would be good because the skin is gonna get really crispy in the air fryer. But I'm gonna use a hardcore carnivore chili lime. They just rebranded this. This is their meat chilada seasoning, and they've rebranded it chili lime. So depending on your health and any autoimmune conditions or things that you're trying to heal, you could just go salt only and it would be delicious. I like to add some seasonings just to give me some variety. Couple of tips for doing chicken in the air fryer. In order to get the skin really crispy, it needs to be very dry before going in. So I took these out of the solution that they were frozen in this morning. They're completely thawed, and then set them on these cooling racks and just left them uncovered in the fridge so they could get really nice and dry. And now when I throw them in, the meat is not steaming around it and the skin is gonna get really crispy. The chicken wings I'm gonna cook at 400, and I will leave them on the top shelf so they can get crispy. Because the thighs are gonna take longer, I'll do them at 375, and I'll put them down on the middle shelf so I don't burn that skin before the inside is cooked. You're looking for an internal temperature of 175 degrees for chicken when there's a bone. I'll stick the meter probe inside one of the chicken thighs, and then you could check the wings with an instant read meat thermometer. Don't forget to season both sides. The amount of time needed will vary, but I start them off on the middle shelf for 10 minutes and then flip them over to make sure that bottom skin gets crispy. After 5 minutes, I will flip them back up to the top and wait until they're finished, which typically takes another 5 minutes. Paired today with a sirloin cap steak. Next up, the chicken wings are cooked at 400 degrees on the top shelf. They take about 15 to 20 minutes, but check them with your thermometer. And then you guys know I hate random feathers, so I gave them a little quick blast with a blowtorch. Okay, we probably didn't need chicken thighs and wings and steak all in the same meal, but I'm not complaining. One of my favorite foods to do in the air fryer that adds a completely different taste and texture to my meal and just adds a lot of variety is pork belly. I buy the whole slab of skin off pork belly at Costco, or you can find it at other grocery stores. When there's no skin on it, you need a lot less prep for it, and you don't have to do extra things to be able to make that skin edible. I like to cut it into chunks. You could use strips as well. Costco also sells like pork belly that's already cut into strips, but I like them to be nice, big chunks so I can leave them fat side up, and that fat is gonna get a lot crispier in the air fryer. I don't tend to preheat the air fryer simply because of time, but if you did, I bet it would help them get a little crispier. I am going to season them with just some kosher salt. I like the crunchiness of the kosher salt with the crispy, fatty juiciness of the pork belly, and that's the only seasoning I'm gonna use, and I will cook them on the top rack until they're nice and crispy. Based on the temperature that you use of your air fryer, how close it is to the heating element, and how big your chunks are will determine how long it takes. But I will just start checking these after about 10 minutes, and we'll see how crispy they get. After 10 minutes, they were starting to get brown, but they weren't crispy enough yet, so I put them back in. The drip mess of the air fryer is kind of a problem, but I use these little cookie sheet cooling racks every single time I use it. This was in there for a total of 20 minutes. The longer you leave it in, the crispier it's gonna get, but you run the risk of drying out the inside. I like a balance of still juicy on the inside and a little bit crispy on the outside. These crispy pork belly nuggets are my favorite to dip in eggs, runny egg yolks, or to have as a side to a steak or some ground beef, really just to add some extra fat, give me a little different taste and texture. Pork belly is actually really delicious cold leftover, so if I was still commuting or going to the office every day, I would make these ahead of time for some meal prep. And once you get the hang of it, these are pretty set it and forget it, so I could just throw these in the air fryer, go cook the rest of my food for the next 20 minutes and come back. It's a pretty wide margin of error. It's gonna be a while before you overcook them and ruin them, so I kind of just throw them in, go cook the rest of my meal, and then pull them out when it's time to eat. Want me to cut it?
Dad, battle's canceled, I win.
Okay.
It's hot.
Now let's go put it with the cheese.
One of my go-to air fryer meals that I can prep ahead and then have it ready for a 5-minute dinner after jujitsu or practice or something is meatballs. You could do a variety of different flavors of meatballs. I like to freeze them ahead of time and then we'll put them in the air fryer. That is the way I can keep them nice and crispy on the outside without drying them out on the inside. So think about a combination of whatever type of meatball flavorings you want. I am gonna do bacon cheeseburger meatballs today. I'm doing a big batch, so I have 1.5 pounds of ground beef here. You could do 1 pound very easily. This is just the portion size that I already have. I will then add bacon. In the reel that I've made for you guys previously, or the YouTube short, I used 1/2 pound of raw bacon and it came out perfectly. Today, I just happen to have a bunch of bacon bits pre-cooked that I bought from the store that I want to use up before we go on vacation. And so I'm just gonna dump all of these. This is about 1/2 cup of bacon bits. I will use 1/2 cup of shredded cheese, 1/2 cup of smashed up pork rind crumbs that Penelope smashed for me. And then you could throw in a variety of seasonings. I think taco seasoning would be good. They could be like some taco cheeseburger meatballs, but today I'm going to use garlic salt, white pepper, which is a little bit less oxalates if you're concerned about it than a traditional black pepper, and a little bit of onion powder, but mainly we're gonna let the cheese and the bacon flavors come through. I also add an egg as a binder. Since this was so much ground beef, I ended up adding 2 eggs. Once they're good and mixed up, I'm going to portion them out with a cookie scoop or an ice cream scooper just to make sure they're all the same size. And I'm going to put them on a tray with wax paper and then put it in the freezer for 3 to 4 hours so they all freeze individually. I just got back from the gym and the sauna and running some errands. The kids are at jiu-jitsu. It is as hot as the actual surface of the sun in Arizona right now. It's just blazing hot. So the last thing that I want to do is cook indoors or even grill outside. It's way too hot for that this evening. So our meatballs that I froze earlier, what's nice is now that they're individually frozen, I can throw them in a Ziploc bag and they'll stay separated. And then when I need a quick meal like tonight, I can just grab a few depending on who's eating and just throw them in the air fryer. Tonight for dinner, I'm gonna cook about 10 of them. I'll probably steal a couple and the kids will each eat about 4 for their dinner. I'm just gonna put them in the air fryer at 400 degrees on the top rack. And then the rest of the meatballs will go in the freezer for another day. Okay, here are the final meatballs. Look at that. I like the cooked bacon in here a lot more than I do when I made it with the raw bacon, but both are delicious. This just makes it a little crispier. Just check them with the meat thermometer. These took a total of 15 minutes, but I did not preheat the air fryer at all. So if your air fryer is a little more powerful than mine, or if you preheat it, it could take less. I'm just looking for them to be around 150 degrees. You could do a little less or a little more depending on if you want any pink or not. So good. This is a recipe that we make at least once or twice a week in some version or another. It is the Parmesan Pork. Today I'm going to use a pork tenderloin, but I use full pork chops or pork loin cut up into cubes. You guys see this in tons of my videos, so we're gonna make this one brief. I'm going to cube this pork loin, put some Italian seasoning, a little adobo, and some melted butter on it. With Parmesan cheese, we will put it in the top rack of the air fryer at 400 degrees. I did preheat it this time to try to make sure things get as crispy as possible, and just let it go until it's an internal temperature of 145 degrees. The final result are these crispy. The pork tenderloin is going to be a lot more tender and juicy than the pork loin, but they still turn out great regardless. This would be a perfect amount for my kids to split for dinner. Maybe I would steal a couple, or we would have them as a side dish to whatever steak we're having that day to give us a little bit of variety and also balance the budget. I'm going to show you one more thing today that we eat every week and is one of our favorites. A few things I didn't show you that are also in our rotation is just hot dogs. I'm telling you, air fryer hot dogs get nice and crispy. It's like cooking them over a campfire. It's awesome. Bacon is just a nice simple, like we just throw bacon in the air fryer if I only need a little bit. Let me know down below. You will not see me cooking steaks in the air fryer. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people do it and enjoy it. It's a taste thing for me, I think. I just want the taste of the grill or cast iron or something, but it's possible. I know there's a lot of other people that have videos on how to cook a steak in the air fryer. I am not your go-to for that. So let me know down below what you cook most often in the air fryer. The last thing we're gonna do is the best thing, and that is fried cheese. I am using Gardener's oven-baked cheese today. There are other brands that are similar to this that you might be able to find in your local grocery store. Gardener's, I know I can order online and it will ship throughout the US. You could cut this into slices, but for the sake of, if you want it nice and gooey with a little crispy on the top, I'm just gonna leave it whole and stick it right in the air fryer. If you cut it into strips, it might get crispier all around. So it's kind of just your preference. And this is the whole recipe, literally cheese in the air fryer, nice and crispy. It's my favorite, I said this with everything, but it's my favorite side dish, or what we kind of treat it as a dessert, or something special that we include on the holidays. I cook it on the top rack for about 4 minutes on each side, and that's about it. It is literally like eating a mozzarella stick. The best. All right, that's all I got. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you get to cook lots of delicious things, whether it's outdoors or indoors. You gotta figure out what works for you, and I hope this helps you do that.